Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. I would like to say thank you to Madam Rohayu Yusof for this subject, Fundamental Financial Accounting and Reporting. I will share to you all about our topic. First of all, our group member is Razia binti Hamdan, Rabiatul Atikah binti Ahmad Tarmizi, Faizul bin Adnan, Azizan bin Sidi, and the last is Aimi Hafiz Famira bin Amiruddin. Our group has selected this company for our project for this topic. First of all, introduction is on 3 May 2022. Our group has met online interview with Puan Badaria, the owner of Iban's Resource. The following week, we had meet at the shop and office. She did show us some sample and how they did business process. At the same time, the tour encouraged us to understand more of her business background and activities. Next. Background of the business. Name of business is Iban Resource. Types of business organization is sole proprietary, also referred to as a sole trader, is an unincorporated business that has just one owner who pay personal income tax and profit earned from the business. Sole proprietorship is a easy types of business to establish and take apart due to the lack of the government regulation. So management controlled by the owner, profit and losses belong to owner, and book and account are not required. Next. This is the item. Next is background and characteristics. Basically, a company needs somebody to organize their business, either directly or indirectly for this business. Fully organized by his owner, Puan Badaria binti Zainal Abidin. She only has one location for her business in Taman Jasa Sungai Tua Gombak. This is the first official place or company because before this, she ran by herself from his home, and sometimes she need to sub his business to another company because she didn't have a machine for some item. For now, all things will be settled down by her and her staff. Normal hour operation 9 AM to 9 PM. Most of the time are from online. Service from this company is supplying and printing. For example, like signboard, name card, bunting, uniform, jersey, gift printing, and others. Okay, for the next, I will pass to Mr. Faizul.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azizan. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoons. So I would like to continue these presentations by sharing regarding classifications of business for IBAN's resources. Yeah. So accounting would be easy if we just reduce financial statements to a few lines. Yeah. For example, money made this month, money spent. So it might simple but not terribly informative. Yeah. While some of the principles of accounting are complicated, classifications of account is basic. Yeah. So that makes the ledger and financial statement more useful for executive, investor, and also the lenders. Classification account aggregates finances into different categories in ledgers and financial statements. It breaks records into several broad classifications. As what we can see from the screens, it had been divided into 5 items, which is owner equities, assets, liabilities, revenue, and also expenses. Let me explain a little bit for every categories. Owner equities. What is owner equities? It had been defined as the resources supplied by the owners or in simple term, is the fund invested to the business for the acquisitions of asset. While assets means resources owned by the IBAN's resources, which contain economic value for the current and future benefits. And in contrast, liability, it is resources borrowed or owed by the IBAN resources, which is legally a binding obligation or debt payable to another entity. And what is revenue? Is inflow of cash income generated from the sales of goods and services provided by the IBAN resources. And the last one is expenses, outflow of cash or cost of asset consumes or operations that IBAN's resources incur in the process of generate revenue. Yeah, next, I give to my colleague to continue the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Faizul, for the explanation on the classification of business item. Assalamualaikum to everyone. My name is Razia Hamdan, and I will be taking over from Faizul to touch a little bit more about classification of business item for event resources. This is, as we mentioned earlier in our early slide, based on our interview session with Puan Badaria on how she conduct her recording for event resources. So based on the record shown in the slide, there are 5 items in this record which has been classified as the business item. So the first one is the owner equity, which reflect to the capital contribution in monetary or cash contributed by Puan Badaria in her early setup of the company, which is amounting of 20,000 ringgit. So the second classification is the asset. Here Puan Badaria have separate into two current asset and also non-current asset. The current asset in this record shown as cash on hand, and she also have some stock inventory such as the paper, t-shirts, and uniform, which is in the storage, which also can be liquidized to become cash. The amount with shown as in the slide. For non-current asset, Pomerania has classified mostly based on the office furniture and equipment used for events resources, daily business operation. So the third classification is liability. So Puan Badaria classified the record as current liability and also non-current liabilities. For current liability, she records the payable to supplier for the goods that she procure. So basically, these are on the short-term payment basis. For example, 15 days to 30 days. She also recorded short-term debt, which is in this case, she have borrowed some short amount of money around 7,000, and this require within 12 months for the year 2021, which recorded in this record. So Puan Badaria have also secured a long-term debt, which is about 10 years. This is to be used for her expansion business activity. Therefore, she recorded it as non-current liability. So the fourth classification is revenue, where sales is the main source for event resources business income. So basically, most of the revenue stream come from the printing and supply of the name, bunting, uniforms, and others as shown in the record. So the final classification is expenses, where most of the expenditure are paid for the recurring operation costs such as rental, utilities, salaries, and other general expenses. So from the record shown and based on our interview with Puan Badaria, we can conclude that the EBAN resources have properly recorded the business transaction according to the business activity. Puan Badaria also mentioned that she is trying her best to maintain the record and use this exercise as a guide to set a good financial statement for her future business transaction, while hoping and praying to Allah that her plan to expand the business into Sdn Bhd within 1 or 2 years will become a reality. So for now, I will end my presentation. I will hand over to my other team, which is Rabiatul Atika, to continue on the next slide explanations.
Thank you so much, Ms. Razia binti Hamdan. So today, my name is Rabiatul Atika binti Ahmad Timizi. I will proceed for the next slide and explain about recording process for this project. So as you can see here, there's some of the account cycle. As you know, account cycle is a collective process and identifying, analyzing, and recording the accounting events of a business. It has also the process recording and processing all the financial transaction from when the transaction occurs or representation on the final statement until the closing the account. So of the main duties of bookkeeper is to keep track of the full accounting cycle from start to the finish. The cycle repeats itself by every fiscal year to keep what we call as to keep track of the full accounting cycle from the start until finish. The cycle repeats itself every fiscal year as long as the company remain in business. So the first step in recording a business is to identify the transaction for a bank's resource which operate the business requires. The owners to identify and record all the business detail activities such as receipt, invoice, bank statement, and others. So the first step is the most important step because it involves the rate of profit or losses in business. For certain current time, events resource need to restock the goods such as bunting, uniform, jersey, and others. Other than that, for every month, event also need to pay utilities such as pay salary for the staff, pay loan, and lot more transaction for the business. And all the documents are collected from the transaction will be compiled and recorded accordingly based on the date, type, transaction, and amount. For the next step, event resolve will record all the data collected into journal before transferring to the ledger. There is several types of business document to be prepared or recognized to initial the transaction such as sales journal, purchase journal, cash receipt, cash payment, and general. All of these journal will be used to record all the transaction for event resolve. For example, purchasing of supplies, the goods purchased by credit, outflow cash of business, cash received from any resource, and all these journal entries for a bank's resource are used for double entries book, keeping which mean whatever transaction for a bank resource, the journal entry we made into two parts, which is debit and credit. When all the transactions are converted into debit and credit, it will be transferred all the record into the ledgers. So this step to ensure the actual financial condition of the business. There are three types of ledgers that being used, such as sale ledger, purchase ledger, and the last one is general ledger. So next slide is. Let's continue on the next slide. So the first step is prepare trial balance. Also important step of e-bank's resource because it helps in locating error by providing a starting point for the location of error committed if any. So the trial balance provides a basic for the preparation of final account. It ensures the e-bank resource transaction recorded in the book of account have identical debit and credit amount. So next is adjusted entries, which is occurs at the end of accounting period to record any unrecognized income or expenses. So there are three main type of adjusting entries, which is accrual, deferral, and non-accounting and non-cash expenses. All the adjustment will give effect to the business financial. So after then that, adjusted trial balance. Adjusted trial balance is a listing of ending balance in all accounts after adjusting entries have been prepared by the advanced resource. It makes sure the adjustment is balanced and also prepare financial statement. Last process in recording business is prepare financial statement at the end of the accounting period. As stated by Puan Baraya, the most important financial statement for the majority of users likely to be income statement, since the real ability of a business to generate a profit. So these statements are designed to be taken a whole to present a complete picture of the financial condition and result for e-bank resource business and to achieve her future expansion plan. That's all from me. So I will pass to my next team member. Thank you.
So thank you to Rabiatul. So right now we have we move to the strength and a few weakness of recording process Every business is engaged in many categories of financial transaction, such as analyzing process, identify transaction, trial balance, journal entries, ledgers, and adjusted trial balance. So we have some of the advantages of accounting, such as maintenance of business record, preparation of financial statement, comparison of result, decision making, evident in legal matter, provided information to relate party, help intention matters, value of business, and replace of memory. So the number one is the maintenance of records. Company event resources record all the financial transaction pertaining to the respective year systematically in the book of the account. So it's not possible for the event resources management to remember every transaction for a long time due to the size and complexity. So the number two is preparation of financial statement. Financial statement like trading and profit and loss account, balance sheet can be prepared easily if there is a proper recording of transaction. So the proper recording of all the financial transaction is a very important for the preparation of financial statement of the entity. The number three is the comparison of result. It facilitates the comparison of the financial result of 1 year with another year easily. So also that the event resources management can analyze the systematic recording of all financial transaction according to the policies and the entity of the company. So the number four is the decision making. Decision making become easier for event resources management if there is a proper recording of financial transaction. Accounting information enable management to plan its future activity so that event resources can easily make a budget and coordination of various activity in various department in other future. So the number five is the evidence in legal matter. So the proper and systematic record of financial transaction, such as evident in the court of the law. So we have provided information to relate party and also help in taxation matters. So what is help in taxation matters? Various tax authorities like become income tax, indirect tax depend on the account maintained by the event resources management for settlement of the taxation matter in 1 year. The number six is value of business. For proper valuation of the entity business accounting information can be utilized so that it's help in measuring the value of the entity by using the accounting information in the case of sale of the entities. So the last one is the replacement of memory. So in this recording process, proper recording of accounting transaction replace to need remember of the transaction. So we go to this is a net few disadvantage of recording process. So the number one is express accounting information in terms of money. Non-financial transaction cannot be given by effect to in book of accounts. So only transaction of financial nature are measurable by the accountant. So that event resources financial transaction are expressed in terms of the money. So the number two is accounting information is based on the estimate. There are some accounting data which are based on estimate. That's in unnecessary in estimate is possible. So accountant personal influence affect the accounting information the entities. So different method of inventory valuation, depreciation method, treatment of revenue and capital expenses be adopted by the accountant for measurement of the income of the entity. So however, the income arrived in the certain case might be incorrect due the lack of the objectivity. So we go through money as a measurement unit change value. So what is the money unit variable change value? Manipulation of account, event resources management can manipulate or will be misrepresent the profit of the entities. So we go to the next. So this is our conclusion about event resources presentation. So from the exercise, our team able to understand one's business. For example, in this case, so priority run. So our group also able to understand the circle of recording process in accounting business. We also understand the importance of the process and the advantages and disadvantages of the recording process. From this project too, we can conclude that accounting is among the crucial factor in any business and important to understand the whole of accounting process. So that's it from me and our team. Thank you.